choice, it's the surge. Yeah, the social surge. Fly and low, they bring the urge to market smart, to market loud. Stand out strong in the digital crowd. Algorithms hum like blues at night. Content.
Good morning. It is Social Surge with Fly and Mo. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a great, fabulous, fan-freaking-tastic day. I'm Mo Regalado, and soon to be joining me will be Miss Fly Jamerson. Today, we are going to be chit-chatting about the 5 questions you need to ask yourself before you spend another dime on social media. We get asked a lot of questions by prospects all the time, and a lot of them are pretty much the same, right? We have a lot of the questions are, how often should I post? Can I only post once a week? What kind of content should I be posting? Where should I be posting? A lot of times we get asked the same questions over and over and over again. Now we all know that content matters, and we all know that sometimes it's just not easy to figure out what kind of content you should be posting, and especially DB, I know, my buddy. It's all right. You're not the only one who missed Cup of Joe yesterday. Corey also missed Cup of Joe. DB's talking about Corey, and Corey Zelnick and I have a show on Instagram. It's live only, and it is only on Instagram. It's called Cup of Joe with Corey and Mo. And Corey was unable to attend. He was in a meeting, and so he texted me. He's like, "This meeting's going long. There's no way I can make it." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So yes, DB, you were not the only one who wasn't there yesterday, so that's fine. Again, you can find that on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on Instagram starting at 5:30 a.m. Pacific. It's about a 10 to 15 minute show. We talk about social media, real estate, and other shit we feel like talking about. And yes, that's literally what I say. So what we're talking about today on Social Surge is we're talking about the 5 questions to ask yourself before you spend another dime on social media. And Fly and I get questions all the time. We get asked the same things over and over and over again. You guys know that content matters. You don't know what to do about it. There's several questions you should be asking yourselves. And with the changes that are happening with LinkedIn and AI, TV, I'm sure everything was good. Good morning, Marcy Moneypenny, coming in from Denver. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure we'll find out tomorrow what was going on with Corey. So every week we have experienced, successful money-making brokers who are calling about AI. They're calling about LinkedIn. They're calling about content. And let me say about the LinkedIn part of it. Gotta say that the whole thing that's going on with LinkedIn is such a cluster at this time, because I'm just gonna throw this out there, y'all. LinkedIn impressions are going to be down for a while until this new AI algorithm like really gets dialed in. I think the biggest challenge for a lot of people is they've had some really good success with some mediocre content.
Can I? Whoa, wow. Can I just draw a corollary here? Also, good morning.
Good morning.
Everyone. I don't entirely understand the landscape of the last few cycles that we've been in this business. Like, if we're actually talking about like deal flow and deal velocity and inventory, and if we're actually talking about the market, like I hear brokers all the time who are like, "Oh yeah, like all these guys got in when it was really easy and like really fine, and then like now it's been hard. Like the last couple of years have been extremely unforgiving to people, and a lot of people who were slinging deals 2 years ago are gone. And it's so my thing here is just like they're like the ability to endure the down cycle is so necessary in this business. And so it shocks me when I have people calling me at all hours of the day being like, Fly, why are my impressions down? I'm like, bro, it's not you. You know what I mean? And like okay, so before I rant, I'm sorry, I just had to drop that in, being like, my blur is too intense right now. Okay, hi.
Good morning. Flying in at the seat of her pants.
I like to Kramer into rooms if I can help it. Anyway, I never get to. I envy the Cup of Joe with Corey and Mo format, because specifically Corey can pop in at any moment and you're just like waiting and like you don't know where he's gonna be.
This is also true.
Like, I have the inability to surprise you if I'm on time, and so.
Well, speaking of time, and this is something, what the heck, and I, and this is besides the point of what our actually conversation is supposed to happen. Good morning, Alan Buchanan. Do you want to do this at 6:30? Would that make it easier for you?
I actually don't
6:30
have
my time.
Well, thank you for the clarity, because I know you're a cold hard bee, but like that's really early. It's really early for anybody. When did you, okay, deflecting the question because I don't have an answer. When you were on the radio, what time were you on? Like, have you always been this,
I was on at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So I was at the radio station at 4:30 in the morning.
I know the newscasters too. One time when I was an intern at a big theater, sorry, just let me have this anecdote, please, and then I'll actually land in the room and what we're supposed to talk about. One time I was an intern at a theater and they were doing a promo for like an early show, like the early morning shows, and like those MFs, excuse me, sorry, I know we're on my LinkedIn today. They're like warriors, the anchors who like they show up and it's straight up 5 a.m. and I kid you not, they must have been in hair and makeup for at least an hour. I don't get it. I don't know.
I love radio. Radio, you don't have to be in hair and makeup because nobody's seeing you.
Yes. And so, that's real, right? It's like, it takes me, every time I have to do this, it takes me time or money. And that's time or money that I could spend, working on helping one of my clients. But anyway, this is okay. Wow. Let's talk about what we're here to talk about today.
So good morning, Holly Pennington. Thanks for joining us over on the Gram, and good morning, Regalado Real Estate. And what we're talking about is the 5 questions you need to ask yourself before you waste any more money on social media. So we both get lots of phone calls. Both get lots of questions. I just went off on the rant about the LinkedIn impressions being down. That AI algorithm is now really going to show who actually knows their shit versus who's just shit. Really, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're seeing it, like I said, mediocre content has gotten a lot of impressions, and you look at it, and from an analytical side, from an analytical perspective, it's just like, and I know both Fly and I do this, we try to break down a post, like, why did this do as well as it did? Like, is it the storytelling aspect? Is there a formatting solution? Is there something going on that we don't understand? Well, now with the LinkedIn AI particularly, it's a language learning model. If you were here a couple weeks ago, we talked about it, how the algorithm has changed, how it is now an AI algorithm. And it is certain signals that it is now tracking include the content that you produce, right? So it's the actual content you're putting out there. Are you a person of authority, and do you provide value in your post? Are you consistent with that vertical that you continuously talk about? Again, we've talked about the fact that there are brokers out there that if you ask what they do, I don't know what they do. I know they're a broker, but I have no clue what asset class they are in, because of the fact that all they talk about is their family. Not a problem if that is your business, right? If that is your business. But as we're here, when we know, and Fly and I talk about all the time, we are here to transact. We want you to transact. That is the bellwether? What is that? Is that the word?
What does bellwether mean?
Like, that's the signal. That's the sign. Anyway, before we get off on a tangent of words.
One brain cell.
The one brain cell, yes.
We need a tagline. Sorry.
So again, we have the 5 questions that you need to be talking to yourself before you spend another dime on social media. Every month of inconsistent posting, every month of inconsistent posting is not helping you, right? We do have a lot of folks who come in and they're like, oh, well, I posted for a month and nothing happened. Okay. Well, what happened to months 2 and 3? Right? There's
unconsidered, ignored, not even a glimmer in their eye. They're, oh gosh, it's just like, it's like sitting down and it's like sitting down and hitting the phone. Can you imagine sitting down and hitting the phones at a cold call shop, and a month in you're like, well, I saw somebody do that once. I was just like, you're kidding me? You're gonna like this guy, like he, and I think it happens all the time because the barrier to entry is extremely low. But he couldn't do it. He couldn't hold out. He couldn't have the patience. And like Matt Drain famously said, it took me 9 months before I closed a deal. And I'm sure there are longer stories. In fact, I want to challenge the internet. I would like to find, and it can be a tall tale, I don't know. There's no way to verify this. It's just for fun. However, I want to know the longest time that somebody was in this business without actually ever closing a deal. Before, I want like 9 months. Drain is king at 9 months. Do you know what I mean? But to the point that I was trying to make, and then veered left, is it's going to take longer, and it's going to take 3 to 6 months before you see real results, and it's going to take 3 to 6 months of doing the same thing consistently. Or if you're not doing something consistently, it's not like if you're not deploying a strategy, because you don't know what the strategy is, and you don't call me for some reason, or us, right? You got to get analytical about what's actually working and be realistic. And
well, you have, like you said, it's as simple as you have to have a strategy. What is the purpose and point of you being on social media? Is it brand awareness, right? That's a silo. Maybe you just want people to know your name, and it's not so much of dropping them into a CRM. It's not so much putting them into a sales funnel. It's just, I want people to get to start to know my name, right? And then, but you can't stay there. It has to move. You have to start moving people into a sales funnel or some sort of marketing funnel so that you're getting your CRM. This is a point I made yesterday about TikTok. So TikTok has been having issues, and now I'm really getting off side. Anyway, TikTok's having issues.
Since Oracle, sorry.
Since TikTok. Oracle took over, the platform's gone down multiple times, and there's questions about, is Oracle actually really ready to take on a platform such as TikTok? If you have all of your social media eggs in one basket, you're screwed. If you do not have a way to capture data such as email addresses, names, you are screwed. So again, having your social media strategy being brand awareness, fabulous. Okay, we can do that. That's great. I love that. Let's work on getting your name out there. But there has to be something after that that gets people into that sales funnel, that marketing funnel, where you're sending out a monthly email to them, right? And because you've been providing value this entire time, when you send an email, they actually want to freaking read it. They don't just delete it because it's like, oh, it's another damn email that jumped into my inbox. That's not going to provide any value. So remember that, we talk about you guys building your pipelines, right? You have your deal pipeline. You could have a recruiting pipeline. You also have to have a marketing pipeline, right? Where these people are coming in and you're having those consistent touches throughout the entire process. They might never transact with you, but they might be the person that sends you to somebody else. Hey, I haven't done it, like we don't work in the same asset class, or I don't have any deals for them, but I know somebody who does. And because you've shown up consistently across platforms,
I literally
or at least just on one platform.
Wait, live example in the field, literally live example in the field. This is what happened. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to expose anybody. However, everything was public here. Somebody on X is talking about needing to spend some travel points in a specific way. And I go to look up the guy who I'm like, oh yeah, I know a points guy, Colin Strood, brother Strood of our dear friend Ian Strood. Brother Strood is a points guy, and he's huge on LinkedIn. And Colin, I'm so sorry, I'm not trying to beef you here. I ended up naming names here, but I was just like, I know a guy, and I know that Colin's the guy because he's so consistent with his messaging and what he can do that, like, even though I went and I tried to find Colin on X and he wasn't there, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're missing opportunities left and right, and so lucky for you that I knew. I'm not trying to, anyway, sorry, this became a bigger.
No, it's absolutely making connections like that, right? It's a perfect example. I think you're talking about Aaron Harris and his tweet about trying to do his points.
Is that who that was?
It was, yeah, it was Aaron.
So much stuff, I can't keep track of it.
Aaron Harris had a bunch of points that he was talking about on X, and he was trying to figure out how he can get, because he wanted to go to Italy. He wanted to go to Italy in May, and he was trying to use this.
That sounds like a movie. That sounds like a. Anyway, if you, by the way, everybody, if you didn't catch a few weeks ago the episode that we did with Aaron Harris, talking about Slice and social media, and just he's the most. Mo coined this term. He's the most interesting man in commercial real estate. Anyway, watch the episode, and if you need the link, DM me and I'll send it to you. However, also too, should we now, because we're here in this node, plug who's going to be here on Thursday?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. All right, so we're going to have Bryant Sheely and Ben Wilson.
Thank you. I was like, and we've actually never spoken to Ben, but who are they? Why are they coming on?
So they are going to be talking about Site to Do Business, which is just like, I'm actually blown away by the actual platform itself. We had a conversation with Bryant, and it was super funny. I was like, Easter's coming up. Is there a way that we could find out like which state eats the most peeps? And he's like, yeah, we could probably figure that out. And then he started.
Honestly, I don't. Okay, so like everybody got. Okay, so Bryant is going to be on like Loki, and also he is local to Baton Rouge. I've met him in person, but he's so funny without meaning to be, and I actually can't decide if he means to be or not, and now I'm a little embarrassed that I'm observing this about him. But however, come watch the show on Thursday morning and see it for yourself. But yeah, I mean, look, like maps, I mean, we know maps are like perfect, like maps and data storytelling, and yes, the kind of data storytelling that brokers have to do to win business and get creative about solutions for properties that are, that need solutions, the real solutions. I think that one thing that I am learning now in my sophomore year of real estate is really truly more about that middle layer in terms of like, top of funnel content, boom, great. We have that down. Like that was my first year lesson. But this year I have, in the conversations that you and I have with brokers, and this is why I think it's very important to have a specialist, not just if you're specializing in an asset class like Bob, but like to have a specialist on your team who knows the business, is because like you and I, the kind of stories that you and I engage with, that are the stories that are really converting and building relationships for our power users, our power clients, are the stories that are showcasing how they have taken impossible challenges in this business and done a deal, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, I went off on a tangent, but I was just starting to think about like how much I love you guys and I want more of it. And then you're calling me, asking me like, oh, what do you think of this logo? And I'm like, bro, you've been thinking about this logo for 6 months. How's your messaging? You know what I mean? Like, and so, right. And I'm just like, I think that, so it's like, so I want to, we're closing in on the end, and I'm aware of that, and I'm aware that I'm a part of the problem and not a solution. So here's what I'm going to change. I want to get to these 5 questions that everybody needs to be asking themselves, but I want to just give a little preamble to the reason why I'm articulating these in the first place. And truly, it's to save you time. It's to save everybody time. Can I rant for a second, Ma?
It's all yours.
Okay.
And she's taking a big old sip. All right, everybody brace yourself.
The entire reason that we exist is to save you time and make you money. That's it. That is I am so locked in on this. And I know that I need to take your own advice and meet people where they're at a little bit more. But I'm also just like, you guys are bleeding money with some of the ways that you are effing around with your little AI projects. It's offensive to me because I know that you are better served and will make more money, which means that you will be able to pay us more. Like, it's a whole system, okay, and I get it. And there you are being like, look at my little graphic that I did, and how do I this, and should I have a Hootsuite, and this and that, and incorrect messaging, wondering, wanting to quit when the reason that you wanted to post was because you don't want to look too hooky or too stupid. And I'm just like, get out of my fucking phone with this. Excuse me. That's, it's really serious, because usually that is reserved for the deepest, secret, darkest depths of the group chat. Okay. So if you're trying, if you find yourself stuck on anything that you cannot figure out in 3 turns in your conversation thread with Claude, or if you're fighting about trying to get something to work, or if you've been looking at the same PowerPoint for 4 or 5 days, like moving the like the little symbol around that you generated in Gamma just to make sure it's in perfect alignment, stop it. Because that's when you're going to call me and be like, Fly, why isn't this working? Or Fly, I'm so ready to make this work, but I don't know how to do it. These are the questions you have to ask. Are you with me? Do you have any commentary in response while I take another sip?
You are focusing on the wrong things. That is the biggest thing right there. Okay. And it comes down to, the fact that the conversation that I had with one of our clients, when he was telling me that his friends were like kind of ragging on him for his content. And I said, that's everything that you've ever said in a podcast. It's not anything that we're making up. It is actually your own words. It's just articulated in a way that looks good on social media. And then I asked him the $1 million question. Are you ever going to transact with these people?
Yeah, it sounds more like he wants to run with the boys than he wants to make money. Huge mistake. Rookie mistake. Weak mistake. Huge.
And he said, no, I'm not going to transact with him. And I said, so the people that you are most likely to transact with, what are they saying about your content? Oh, I'm getting emails, I'm getting phone calls. Hey, I really like what you're posting on LinkedIn.
Just ignore what's right in front of their face. So, and I get it. It's huge. You don't want to come off a certain way. You want to know what way I want you to come off? Rich. Like, and then when you're rich, you don't.
Brandon Weiss has joined us over on the gram. M. Hagen or Hagen, sorry for mispronouncing your last name, is also on the gram. And Lindsay Barden has also joined us over there.
Oh, what a dark horse. Okay. So, but yes. So having feelings about looking bad. I'm like, look, I'm not trying to, I'm just like, this is a little tough love today, but just like being self-conscious, wanting to do things yourself that you have no business doing because you're better served in the field and talking to clients. Look, I also don't want to squash the creativity, because I think a lot of you guys actually, really benefit from this, because I find that when we have clients that are very engaged, that they see improvement across the board, because, going back to the top of the episode, talking about, not being able to know, and articulate your messaging and your content on social media. Sometimes we ask people for a value prop and they literally they don't know what to say. And I'm just that is really a problem if you're expecting to walk into a pitch. And 100%. But clearly they're doing it well because they're in the room. But then I see anecdotally, when I see clients get really confident and engaged with the articulation, of their work, in the content, I see that energy go other places, because then they start receiving energy back from the people who are engaged with them anyway. So people are wasting time on tactics without a strategy. People are worrying about veneer when they, should be worrying about the engine. And they end up exactly where they started and then calling me at all hours of the day. And so here are the questions that you need to ask before you pick up the phone to me. And if you can't answer them, sorry, call me 225-270-2061. It's my job to talk to you. However, you will get to an answer a lot faster and not waste your time more if you can answer these questions. And here's what they are. What are you actually trying to build? And this is what you are always talking about, right? Like, are you a broker or are you a journalist, right? Are you a broker or are you a reality television show host? And I'm not trying to shade, the people that are near and dear to our hearts, but like, Serhant is employing a very specific marketing play. He's not pretending to be some hoity-toity reality TV show boy. That is a very specific marketing play that has increased their recruitment and increased their brand growth by over 400%. And then you have these people who are like, oh, I want to go viral and be an influencer. I'm like, no, you don't. He's doing that to make money in a very specific way. Okay. So, and all of those things look different, right? Like a recruiting tool looks different than market commentary that's meant to, pull people into calling you when they have a similar problem. And that's also all different than thought leadership and anything, right? Like, and if you can't come to a conversation with pinpointing that, and I am happy to walk you through that. That's my job too, because like I know that the whole world of social media is vast and complicated and shiny, and you all have really shiny object syndrome. So it's like, that's why one of the first questions I ask people when we have these conversations, and I will pick up the phone, is like, what are you actually trying to do in your business?
Yep.
And then from there we can start.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that is like the first. What is your goal? What are your goals for this? What do you want to do? Which is why I talked about, if it's just brand awareness, okay, great, we can do that. Do you have a marketing funnel put in place? Do you have something that we can actually get them into your CRM? Like, what is the process that we're doing here? Because brand awareness for brand awareness sake is great. However, we need to have an end result. The next question you need to ask is, what do you actually have to say, right? So the first question is, what are you trying to build? Next question is, what do you actually have to say? This is where we talk about content pillars. This is where we talk about, how are you putting out your value prop? How are you showing people that you are an authority in your space? How are you going to get people to start looking at you? And Dwayne, DB had a perfect example right here. Clients that I never knew have told me that I was referred to you as the air guy, and not one of them ever said who referred them. I didn't push, but I'm curious. I say that because I mention air rights all the time. It has been continuous along with other parts of the formula. See, Dwayne is known as the air rights guy, right? People know that they can go to him because that's what he talks about on social media. Now, and Dwayne, you should be figuring out who's referring those. That's you need to do that. But because he talks about that, that's what he's become known as, right?
Wait, Dwayne, I don't know what you're talking about, but I love the energy.
So it's, what do you actually have to say? And how exactly are you saying it? How are you putting it in there? And we do, Fly made a good point that we see a lot of brokers right now spending a lot of money on AI, building shit that they just don't need. You need to get out there and tell your damn story, not a machine that is going to, I don't know what you're doing with it. Like that's all well and good, but is that where
you want to know what it is? Because it's fun. It's fun to make. It's and like, look at like, people in this business don't get a lot of opportunities to be creative. like generatively creative and expressive with stuff. And I think a lot, and again, I didn't know that there were all these amazing storytellers and creative people in commercial real estate, yet here you are. And now you're handed something that can create a really excellent, 15-second clip if you just prompt it the right way, that might, I get it. And it's the shiny object thing. And but there is a huge disconnect between the making of it and then how it's received. It's honestly, a lot of it is a waste of time. If you are expecting it to do something for you strategically, if you're just making fun images, then that's fine.
Yeah, it comes down to, is it the highest and best use of your time? Is what it comes down to. If you are creating something with your AI that helps save you time or helps save you money, then that's the highest and best use of your time. But you cannot sit with it and continue to work on it and continue to massage it and continue to feed it and make it feel better, because that's not the highest and best use of your time. The highest and best use of your time is picking up the phone, and it is circling, it is continuing to connect with your clients and work your network. So we went through questions 1 and 2. Question number 3 goes with the highest and best use of the time. Who's doing the work? Are you doing everything yourself? Because I can tell you right now, if you're trying to do everything yourself, you're probably calling me, or you're calling Fly and saying, hey, how do we get this? How do we fix this? You outsource everything. And unfortunately, when you outsource that, the company that you outsources to doesn't sound like you. Maybe they have good morning, Jay Garrett McPherson. We're talking about we are talking about the 5 questions you need to ask yourself before you waste any more time, money, effort on social media. So who's doing the work? You need to tell that company that you hire that you have a very distinct voice and personality. If you don't know what your voice and personality is, that company then needs to work with you to help you discover it. That is their job. Your content should not sound like every other piece of content that's out there. And yes, we can tell when AI is writing your content. Going back to the AI, Marcy asked something. She said, can AI recognize its own content generated by certain platforms? And anecdotally, there is nothing at this time saying that it can detect the AI. However, I would say with LinkedIn having its own LLM that is running the algorithm, there's a good potential that it's going to start flagging massive AI content. But the thing is, here's the thing though, is the content that you are putting out that AI is helping you create not right for you 100%? Is it helping? Is that in the vertical that you've already pushed forward? If you work in industrial real estate, you talk about the market, you talk about what's happening in the news, you talk about certain things, and that's what you're known for, then I think it would have a lot harder time penalizing you for using AI for that content. I think it's more to the fact where we have a lot of AI written drivel that gets put out on all platforms, right? There's a lot of just platitudes and just kind of just random bullshit that gets put out, and people are happy that they posted that. It's literally fluff. Like, why would you just created more digital noise? Good morning, James Milner. Thanks for joining us.
Jig is up. Oh my gosh. Oh, James Millie, what up, boy? Go check out James Milner's videos lately.
Oh my gosh, they're so good. Did you see the one from yesterday where he was jumping? And then, I love that.
I love it because I love a trend, and no one's brave enough to do a trend. And right now, Milner is locked in. He's like, the video, I'm going, and I'm like, I like it, so it's good. Go check it out.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about it right now, and I remembered it. It was sticky because I watched it. I'm like, why is he jumping? And then everything went down, and it was great. I loved it. Thanks.
We'll just have to find the link and post it somewhere. But this goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning in terms of the power of the presence and being able to make connections between things. You become known for You become known for something. And now, like, that's great. Like, what, you know, having somebody's attention with top of funnel content, which is what we're talking about, you know, in terms of like working with a subject matter expert who is going to understand, okay, what are the things that are going to catch people's attention in the top of the feed so that we're stopping the scroll. Two things. One is like a stunt like that, which doing a trend is a stunt, or it's consistency, which is like what we were saying Colin Strood is doing, the points guy on LinkedIn, right? His company is called Go Somewhere, but he's just that, he's the points guy in my head, right? He's a guy. So, and then but to capitalize on that, because if you don't work with a subject matter specialist in terms of understanding how your deal flow actually works in terms of how you build your relationships, you're just going to stay there. You're just going to stay there in that top funnel where people are like looking at your very well-written posts or looking at your very well-edited video and just saying like, oh, I like that. Scroll. Never going to spend any money on you. They're not your target audience.
Yep. 100%. If they're not your target, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, you can have all the attention in the world, but if it's not the right attention, it doesn't mean jack shit. So question number 4, what does it actually cost? Well, I think Fly had a really good point when she was talking about earlier about, you know, how you really need to take a look at what your time is worth. And, you know, if you are paying yourself, if you go and you figure out what your hourly rate is and realize that you are wasting 2 hours of your day trying to do social media, trying to create graphics, and that's costing you $500, you can hire somebody to do that for you and get that time back, right? Now, that being said, when you hire that person, I've had these conversations, do not hire an admin assistant to have them do admin assistant work and then make them do your social media and your marketing, because that is not their specialty. And then you're going to get pissed and you're going to get frustrated. You're going to tell me I had an admin assistant that worked for me for 3 months, but we had to part ways because they weren't doing what I wanted. And then I ask you, did you set an SOP? And they're like, what's an SOP? I'm like, standard operating procedure. Did you have something for them to follow? No, I just told them what to do. Okay, yeah, that's not how they work. That's not how this works. If you don't have your own system in place, how are you expecting somebody else to follow it and do what you need them to do without explaining exactly what it is that needs to be done? So, what is the actual cost of you having to do all of this work by yourself? And if you're spending 10 hours a week, you know, and you 10 hours a week, you get paid $200 an hour. That's a chunk of change, buddy. And over a month, that's a big chunk of change. I think you could probably look at it and be like, can I get those 10 hours back? Can I get that 10 hours back?
And I think so there's an element of the outsourcing that is about operations and revenue, essentially, right? I mean, like the one of the greatest books I've ever read is Who Not How. And you want to know what? The author of that book didn't write it at all. And they talk about that in the book, that he hired somebody to write the book for him and he didn't touch a word, that they just talked about it, right? And it was still 100% everything that the author, who I forget his name, he's like the strategic coach. It's
Hardy? Dan Hardy.
Okay, great. I'm just gonna roll with that. You know, it's his book, it's his concept, it's his everything, but he was too busy doing what only he could do to get a book out, which is talk to people. That's what he does best. Dan Sullivan. What Dan Sullivan does the best is to talk to people. And what in that interaction, what he can see and do in real time is the thing that only he can do after years and years of experience. And how much revenue that can generate in that same amount of time that he would spend trying to figure out how to write a book when somebody else has figured all of that out already for him. It, to me,
It's Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I was putting their names together.
Dr. Benjamin Hardy, I think he actually reads the audiobook version too. I think Dr. Benjamin Hardy reads the audiobook version, and then the two of them between each chapters have a conversation. Because again, like Dan Sullivan was, you know, it's such an interesting like case study in terms of like a successful deployment of outsourcing something that is incredibly personal and proprietary.
And the last question is,
God,
how does this actually make you money? This is the question everybody wants to talk about first, and they should be talking about it last. You cannot be everywhere, and you can't be online all the time, even though Fly and I seem like we're online all the time. There's a difference between being online all the time and being plugged into your network and your community. Are you plugging into your network and your community? Because once you plug into your network and community, that's when you start making money. Why? Because you've shown that you're a person of integrity. You've shown that you can connect others. You've shown that you're willing to provide value without expecting anything in return. And I think that's the biggest issue, is that so many people get on social media with the expectation that they're immediately going to get something in return. You have to put in to get out. And a lot of times you have to put in a lot, much more than you were expecting in the beginning. This is that issue where people are like, you know, I thought I was going to go viral right away. That's not how it works, buddy. That's not how it works. Okay, we are getting the hook. We are getting the hook right now.
Is it really Hack? Hack is hooking us?
He is. He's like, it's 45. It's almost 45 after. You guys got to go. Okay.
DMs from Hack. Oh, I'm not an A player. All right. Okay.
All right, everybody. Okay, so here's the deal. Next on Thursday, we are going to be talking with the guys from Site to Do Business, Ben Wilson and Brian Sheely. We'd love for you to come and have a discussion with us about what Site to Do Business is about. I freaking love it. I'm such a little data, surprisingly enough, a little data girl where I want to see all the layers. There's lots of great stuff you can do with that program. So we're going to be talking to them about that on Thursday. Can't wait to see you back here. Hope everybody has a great day. And if you have questions about the 5 questions that you should be asking yourself before you waste any more money, you can connect with Fly and I via DM on any of the socials. And she gave out her number, so go and find it.
Go get it.
We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.